All right. The White House press briefing just got serious, so everyone, hold on tight. Karoline Leavitt, the lady holding the buzzsaw, was astonished when CNN's Karoline Collins walked directly into it.
The president was within his executive authority to do that. He is the executive of the executive branch, and therefore he has the power to fire anyone within the executive branch.
Karoline thought she had the perfect gotcha moment planned, but let's just say things didn't work out that way. The plan was for this to be simply another typical news conference. Notably, Karoline tried to corner Karoline with a loaded question, anticipating that she would falter or even seem unprepared, but Karoline totally turned the tables and gave Karoline the facts. The greatest thing was that the whole incident was televised live, without any editing or spin, and Karoline was left stumbling and struggling for words. The press room was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. CNN definitely did not want you to see this. Viewers hurried to social media as soon as the video went up, slamming Karoline and casting doubt on her preparedness for the role. But before we get started, have you signed up? That's great if it is. Let's begin.
One, on the freeze in federal funding, who advised the president on the legality of telling government agencies that they don't have to spend money that was already appropriated by Congress?
Well, as the OMB memo states, this is certainly within the confines of the law. So White House counsel's office believes that this is within the president's power to do it, and therefore he's doing it.
Okay, so they disagree with lawmakers who say that they don't have the power to freeze this funding.
Again, I would point you to the language in the memo that clearly states this is within the law.
And all that happened on Friday night. The administration fired several inspectors general without giving Congress the 30-day legally required notification that they were being fired. I think only 2 were left at DHS and the DOJ. And then yesterday we saw several prosecutors, I believe 12, fired from the Justice Department who worked on the investigations into the president. As you know, they are career prosecutors, therefore they are afforded civil service protections. How is the administration deciding which laws to follow and which ones to ignore?
Let's set up the situation. Karoline Collins, who for some reason still thinks she can compete with conservatives, thought she had the advantage in this case and could catch Karoline Leavitt with a smug, planned attack. That was a huge error, folks. Despite Karoline Collins' best efforts to maintain her dignity, the harm had already been done. You could see the stress on Karoline's face, the room was in startled quiet, and the air was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Karoline simply shut Karoline down with a string of indisputable facts that Karoline couldn't even begin to refute without blinking or flinching.
So it is the belief of this White House and the White House counsel's office that the president was within his executive authority to do that. He is the executive of the executive branch, and therefore he has the power to fire anyone within the executive branch that he wishes to. There's also a case that went before the Supreme Court in 2020, Scala Law LLC versus the Customs, Bureau protection. I would advise you to look at that case, and that's the legality that this White House was resting on.
So you're confident that if they bring lawsuits against you, the prosecutors who were fired, that they will succeed?
We will win in court,
And
yes.
Did he personally direct this, given they worked on the classified documents investigation and the election interference investigation?
This was a memo that went out by the Presidential Personnel Office, and the president is the leader of this White House.
This was too easy, and the look in Karoline's eyes was a panic. The internet saw that she wasn't ready for that type of response. The internet went berserk in a matter of minutes, with viral videos, trending hashtags, and conservatives relishing the moment when Karoline took over CNN and Karoline Collins made her seem foolish. Her situation became worsened when CNN had a complete breakdown and attempted to conceal her shame, but it was too late and the harm had already been done. Videos of Karoline's perfect takedown went viral on social media, raising questions about Karoline's credibility. CNN's response: they started secretly removing footage from their websites in a hurry. No matter how much checkers tried to shift the emphasis or rewrite the narrative to cover up the shame, conservatives were living for this moment, and even some liberals couldn't deny that Karoline had fallen into a trap.
The fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to one of the worst mass in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political that has led to 2 heinous attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political because he's experienced it himself. And talking about the tragic realities of war that Liz Cheney and her father Dick Cheney have got this country into, it's not political. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out young.
The irony: CNN made an effort to show Karoline as unprepared, but in the end, they revealed their own shortcomings. It was a catastrophe, but just when you thought things couldn't get any worse for Karoline, guess what? Let's talk about the scarcity of eggs. Karoline brought up the growing cost of eggs and tried to hold the White House accountable for inflation and rising supermarket costs in a last-ditch effort to save her credibility. But instead of being amused, Karoline didn't even flutter an eye. Instead, she answered in a manner that made Karoline seem as if she had just been struck by a ton of bricks. When Karoline showed how Biden's actions, including the mass slaughter of chickens, had caused the egg problem, even CNN's own viewers stopped buying into the narrative. Karoline's game was finished because the response was so well thought out and potent.
A lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration and the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage.
As one Twitter user so eloquently said, imagine being that humiliated in front of the entire nation. It's about more than just one negative experience for Karoline Collins. It's about the greater problem of why the media continues to lose trust. Karoline Leavitt just shown that they would not back down, despite their attacks on conservatives. The American people are tired of believing the falsehoods that the media continues to spread. CNN and Karoline acted as like they were the most intelligent people in the room, but Karoline demonstrated how quickly they falter under duress, and CNN is already reeling from this devastating setback. Karoline put an end to Karoline Collins' career in less than 3 minutes. By now, even the producers on CNN were likely scratching their heads. Karoline is completely humiliated, and Karoline, she's more respected than ever.
Opponents are saying to this very day the same rhetoric that led to those 2 attempts. The second attempt on President Trump's life echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie, and yes, you will take political like we have seen in 2 instances against President Trump. Tim Walz and Kamala Harris said that everyone who showed up to President Trump's rally in Madison Square Garden was a That's despicable, dangerous, divisive rhetoric that is spewed by the Democrat Party every single day. And I'm so sick and tired of the media pointing the finger at Donald Trump and saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it. And that's why today President Trump is more popular than he has been since 2016, because people don't trust him.
Now it's your time, folks. Was Karoline's takedown the most brutal of the year? Was CNN's desperation shown by Karoline? Do you think the mainstream media can ever recover from this credibility crisis? The crucial issue is whether CNN will really grow from this humiliating experience or whether they will go on with their catastrophic strategies. Either way, Karoline Leavitt established a new benchmark for media accountability. It will be a long time before CNN can recover from that nightmare. To ensure you don't miss another amazing takedown, we value your time and look forward to seeing you soon.